Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Oh, I'm consenting to be recorded now. Continue.
Yeah, that's a
Ooh, that's
new.
new. That's
Yeah,
new.
it's like a new
You have to get my
Zoom
consent.
thing.
You have to get my consent
Can you sign
now.
this waiver? Can you sign this? All right, let's do this. We don't have a
Let's.
topic. We don't have a plan. We don't have shit.
This was a very, yeah, it's kind of sudden. Well,
Yeah, I don't
because I,
know.
I knew you were busy this last weekend with was your mom in town or just like family in general? And so
Your
you were just
fucking
busy.
mom. Oh, sorry. I
Whoa.
overreacted there. I thought you were making a your mom joke.
No, I wasn't. I was being just
You were
stating
just
factual events that
you're
happened.
asking an actual question. Yeah, my mom was in town even up until yesterday, but she came into town Friday. We had dinner. My aunt was also in town, and it was kind of a dual birthday celebration for my birthday on the 18th and my nephew's birthday on the 14th. So they came from Newport, and then we had a dinner out at my brother's place on Saturday.
I didn't
And
realize that your
so
mom had moved because I feel like last I knew, she was living in the Portland area. So I didn't realize that she had moved away.
yeah, she's been in Newport for just a couple years, 2, 3 years, something like
Oh,
that.
nice.
Not too long. She's a in the educational world there, and she's quite busy. But at some point, I think she's soon to retire, so I think she's going to move back here and live on my brother's property. They're
Oh,
gonna,
interesting. I feel like most
yeah.
people usually retire to the coast area instead of
I think that's
working
what
there.
she was kind of thinking, is that she wanted to go back to the coast because she likes it, but she doesn't really have anybody on the coast, so she's kind of there. Other than my aunt who lives with her, she's just kind of there to work, I guess. And I think she realized that it's like super conservative and very weird and small, and then you have to drive a long way to get anywhere. So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily ideal, but um, yeah, you would think you would retire on the coast so you can just sit there, but she's not retired yet, so.
Yeah, that's why it's what I mean. It's just weird that she's still working and moved there. And then when she retires, is planning to then move away from the coast. So just she's just marching to the beat of her own drum. So
Yeah.
good for her.
Yeah. Well, my brother has a property that she is a co-owner, and so my brother's going to build a house on the property, and then she's going to get her own house on the property as well.
Fuck, maybe I'll build my own house on that property too. We
It's
just like
already
start our own commune.
Oh, it's a big property, but it's the actual area to build stuff on is not crazy big. So
I have this aspiration of spending like the second half of my life as a Jim Jones type figure, and I feel like the
mhm.
first step would be
Well,
getting
you're
in on
out.
some land. And yeah, I'm already kind of out in the sticks, but I need like
Yeah.
a more secluded area to really start gathering my flock of
Well, you got to move to like
cyanide affiliate
Arizona, buy
followers.
like 100 acres of desert, and then build a compound
Mm-hmm.
and put a bunch of fences around it and get all friggin' Waco, Texas on it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I don't know
don't I
why
don't
that
want to
would be the
have
goal.
I don't really want to have guns involved. That's why I was thinking more Jim Jones. I would definitely be more interested in sort of a conniving poison scheme than I am like a shootout with like
A
the
full-on
FBI or
shootout.
the DEA or whatever association they Waco folks were
A
getting involved in.
conniving poison scheme. I feel like all poison schemes are pretty conniving at some point.
I just wanted
That's
to find an excuse to use the word conniving. That's all. It felt
uh
appropriate at the moment.
can you spell it?
Conniving,
I can't.
Conniving
Oh,
for
it's just
sure.
like conniving. I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking um
Let me check. Let me double check that.
like
I'm pretty sure that's
I
fine.
was thinking Qunniving.
Nope, I got it right.
Yeah.
Conniving. Conniving.
Well, I wonder if the word
Word of the day. Connive.
does con artist come from that? Is that what a con is? Is a conniver, a conniving, a
I
connive?
probably. I'm sure they have like some sort of root uh similarity or
Like root beer?
inception point, like root beer. Dude, you can't trust that shit. Because see, the thing about root beer is it's not real
Mm-mm.
beer.
No, it's not.
That's
It's
the
a
thing.
lie. It's
They
a
trick you.
conniver,
They fucking
conniving beer.
trick you.
Ooh, that makes me. For
It's a
some reason, that
con
made me
beer.
kind of hungry. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just hungry. I haven't
Did
had
you not?
dinner.
You didn't? Oh, you didn't have dinner? Yeah, I
No,
had dinner before we got
I
started. I had some
haven't
pork
really eaten
chops and then a
much.
fat ass salad.
Fat ass salad. I want to make that. Sounds like
Yeah,
like my new favorite rap song.
fat ass salad.
I like big salads and I cannot lie. Other
Mm-mm,
brothers can't
mm-mm.
deny when
You
the
can eat as
cucumbers.
much as you want, and your ass won't get big. So yeah, get them
Because
salads.
it's barely any calories. Unless you put a ton of sugary dressing on it.
It's true. I did the balsamic vinaigrette. That was my dressing of choice this evening.
Balsamic is good.
Yeah,
I'm an Italian dressing fan. I have
I like that
three
too.
or four types in my fridge, and I switch them up. And every time I go to a restaurant, it's always Italian. Or they're like, we don't have Italian, and then they're like, well, we have like a raspberry vinaigrette, and you're like, that's fucking Italian. Is it oil based? Is it
Is it
essentially oil and
with some
like
vinegar in it,
yeah,
or in
and
some?
vinegar or whatever? Like that's Italian dressing, you weirdos. You're just trying to be fancy.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the raspberry vinaigrette's okay, but I don't
No, I
know.
don't like the
It's just too
raspberry.
sweet sometimes. Like
No,
some of them are
just
like
balsamic is fine.
overpowering. Yeah.
Yeah, balsamic vinaigrette's totally fine in it. I wonder if you go to Italy and you ask for dressing, you don't ask for Italian. You just go, "Hey, I just want dressing."
You just like ask for the Italian dressing and they just slap you in the mouth and just walk
Yeah.
away.
Hey, what are you doing? No, that's not. That's that's my boss
That's just
Italian.
fucking Chef Boyardee voice right there.
Yeah.
Real nice.
Hey, what are you doing? We don't have no Italian dressing over here. What do
Want
you
some
want?
spaghettios? You
Yeah,
want some
what do you we
spaghettios?
ain't got that Chef Boyardee. This is Italian. Italiano. Giorgiani. Schmigegi.
Giovanni, get this
Hey.
fucking guy
Yeah,
out of here.
Giovanni, get this fucking douche out of here. He asked for fucking Italian dressing. We're in Italy. What are you doing?
Yeah, you're just dressing around
Just
here, fella.
dressing. We don't got no ranch. We don't got no fucking 1,000,000,000 island. We don't.
Ranch red. Do I look like a redneck to you? Why would I have ranch dressing up in this place?
Yeah, what do I look like?
I'm no fucking cowboy. Take that shit back across the
You go
ocean.
to Italy, they all talk like that. And then you go to New York and they actually speak Italian.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's
What do
confusing.
you want? Like a pizza fajoule, pasta fajoule. They have to use the little yeah.
And then they just go kiss somebody right on the anus lips.
Yeah. Why? Is it because of this? Because this makes you feel like
Yeah,
the little
I think
hand
that's
is
like
your
an
little
old
butt.
Louis
It is a
C.K.
little butt.
I think that's like an old Louis C.K. bit. I think that's why I was thinking of it. Where he was like, "Why do people go?" Mwah? It's like I think he says
Oh
like
yeah, he
something
says something
something
like it's so
like where it's
good,
so
it's so
good,
good. I want to suck on
just
that
kiss him.
butthole or
Oh yeah,
something.
something like that.
Yeah, I remember
Can't
that.
bring him up anymore because of his naughty past, but
His
he's still
little
a fucking funny bastard.
his
That's for sure.
winkscapades.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at least he wasn't raping anybody in the traditional sense.
Not in the traditional sense.
Creating a lot of really uncomfortable situations, regardless,
Yeah,
with some trauma involved. And
yeah. I don't know what that would be like to like be a lady in general, but
Mhm.
to be a lady and then in a situation where somebody just pulls their dick out and you're like, nobody.
Well,
I'm new
from
here.
from
What
what
do
I
I do?
understand though, is he like asked them if he could do it or if it was okay. He like got
Mm,
sort of like a verbal consent, but they basically were saying that they felt pressured into it because of how powerful of a position he held in the sort of comedy world. And so they're like, it's
So they
awkward to
wanted
say
to
no,
in. So
I guess.
they wanted to further their career through accepting his completely corrupt acts.
I guess so.
Like that's
I'd
kind of, I
have
mean, you
to
can say like he's powerful, but you're also saying that you're not interested in integrity and you're interested in whatever it takes
Mhm.
to
I'd have to
go,
like
you know,
read more about what exactly happened, but
I
I feel
don't
like
know.
I feel like I remember them saying so like it was kind of
That's what
along
I
those
heard.
lines where they felt pressured into it even though they could have said no, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe they couldn't.
Who knows?
I don't
Only
know.
them.
Only they do, and I don't. But back to Italians. Um, No, ranch is good. You know what's really good is Caesar dressing.
Yeah, Caesar's
Caesar,
really good.
I really enjoy Caesar dressing. That's like a treat. Like I'll every once in a while I'll just have a little Caesar on there instead.
Oh, must be his birthday or something.
Yeah,
You're
after
over
my
there eating that Caesar
on my birthday. I had a birthday. I think I was where did we do this on my birthday or was like the day before or something like that?
It was right before AM,
Yeah.
something like that.
So I had a birthday. I turned 37 years old.
Damn. I turned 32 in July
You
3rd.
young buck.
Mm-hmm.
Only 32. Yeah, I'm only 3 years away from being 40.
That's gonna be you think that's gonna be a weird time for you when you hit
Yeah,
40?
I mean, it's not going to be weird. It's just I'm going to care more. I'm going to make it weird by
Oh, okay.
thinking about it.
I feel like
Plenty,
every like 10 years, I
nothing
feel like
actually will be weird.
some people just I think they have a bit of a crisis every 10 years when you're like, fuck, I started a new decade.
I have a crisis every fucking couple hours.
Wait till you get to 50 though, because then that's when you get the old finger up the poop chute for to
Yeah.
check your prostate.
Yeah.
So
I went to the doctor the other day
oh, so
and
you've already had it done. Okay.
no, they didn't do it. I could have asked. Like, I know I'm here for this one thing, but you got a couple minutes.
Well, I think my
Um,
doctor, when I went and saw her last time, she said that there a lot of cancers they've started checking at younger ages,
yeah,
especially like colon cancers and things like that, because they're becoming so much more prominent. So I wouldn't be
because
surprised if pretty soon at like 40 they recommend you get your
yeah,
first prostate exam just to
yeah, I
check.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, it'd be better to catch it early. Um, but no, I have not had a prostate exam. But to me, I feel like I'm at the point where like I think the health concern is more important than the embarrassment. Like I've already had like I had a I thought I had a hemorrhoid, and I mean he pretty much put his finger on my butthole. I don't. What am I gonna do? That's how
Yeah,
doctors
that's
are.
what they do. You think it's uncomfortable for you? I mean, they're the one that has to touch your butthole with their fingers. So
Yeah, they chose a profession in which buttholes are a thing that
I
you
don't know
get
if
to.
I told you about this, but when I like when I went to my doctor, it was the first time I'd seen this particular doctor because I had to switch because my other one moved away. And as part of my physical, she was telling me that she could examine like my penis and scrotum and stuff because it's a
Yeah,
standard
you
part of
told
the
me about that.
physical. Okay, yeah, and
Yeah, and because it's a lady, and then you were
well, and
like, I
apparently
don't.
a
You're the
lot of
doctor. I
she
don't
does,
care.
yeah. Apparently, a lot of the guys that she sees don't feel comfortable with her doing it, and I'm like, that's just I don't know. It's not a
It's not
sexual
that
thing.
they. I think they feel too comfortable. It would be too nice. Yum
Yeah, maybe
yum.
maybe they were worried they were gonna start fucking pitching a tent as she's examining. It was not fun for me at all. It
Yeah,
was not a. This is awkward while you stand there with a woman who's essentially a stranger crouched in front of you, like
yeah,
moving your fucking dick and balls around and sort of
yeah.
squeezing and
Yeah,
making
it's
you cough and
very
all the fun
odd.
stuff.
Yeah, I remember getting a physical a while back, and it was super weird. Like, because I just don't have people in that area ever. Like, it's just never happened. Like, it
Oh,
doesn't
hey,
happen. I mean, I don't even have like somebody I want in that
I was to say
area
we just
very
stumbled on
often.
the topic of the show
Oh,
is
is
Joe's
it like
loneliness.
my lack of sexual sex life?
your
We can
uh
talk about it. It's
your
not.
intimacy
Guess how much
issues.
there is to talk about. There's not much to talk about. It's like talking about like the absent space in a room. Like if you had a room full of nothing, that'd be like talking about my sex life.
So in a genuine question, in
Well,
the case of your lack of relationships, is that like a personal choice? Like you just haven't found anybody that you. I mean, have you met women that there's like a possibility that you just don't follow through with, or have you just
no,
not even really been searching?
I definitely am not out searching very often, but every once in a while I've gone to like social events where there were people and I went, like thinking, hey, I want to try to, you know, see who's
Meet
single,
somebody?
maybe
Yeah.
meet somebody. And and in like interacting with them, like having conversations and stuff, it just like didn't go anywhere. And I didn't push it because I was kind of waiting to see if I was attracted to them and like kind of into them and see if they're kind of into me, and just didn't get much back. So it just
Hmm.
was like, you know, I could push it and try to be more aggressive, but I just didn't feel like it. And I'm not really like that. So if it doesn't seem like we're getting along and we have something in common, you know, I don't know. Maybe I should just think with my dick more. But I'm just maybe because I'm older, I just don't. I'm not thinking that way as much anymore. Um,
Sex drives is dying, Joe.
well, my sex drive has gone down slightly, but not like a ton.
Hmm.
Just enough to be noticeable and make me feel like I'm getting older and make me feel like that's kind of what it's gonna keep doing for, you know, till
Yeah,
you die.
one
Is it
you can
just goes, it
finally
starts sloping down, and
you can finally get through at least one day a week without masturbating, so that's
yeah,
good. It's a noticeable
yeah,
change.
it's like, you know, one day off is, you know, all it takes, and then
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
back at it the next day like a vigorous monkey.
You got to keep the pressure valves released, or otherwise bad things will happen. They actually did a study
Bad things.
you can read about on while we're on the subject of masturbation and prostates that
Yes.
they did a study. I'd have to look it up because I don't remember who did it, but they found that the more frequently that men ejaculate, the greater reduction in prostate cancer there is, because
That's
it constantly is flushing essentially the fluids out of your prostate, and so it doesn't allow them to just sit and kind of hang out.
that's
So they said that as it's constantly sort of
yeah.
exploding out your dick,
I think that's the
it's
thing. Like, there's a lot of dudes who abstain from relationships for like more kind of thought out reasons, and
Mhm.
or they're like kind of, you know, you've heard of what are they called? Insoles or whatever, where they
Oh
like,
yeah.
you know, they like choose like they're choosing. Oh,
Well, see, no, the thing with
whatever. There's yeah.
insults are people are men who can't get into relationships and they blame that fact on women.
That's what I'm talking about.
So
Is like people
I
who are
wouldn't
kind
say
of,
you're an
no,
insult
I'm not
because
an insult.
you're not
I
complaining
don't
that
no, I
your
don't
lack of
blame it on
relationships
them.
has to do with them. But.
No, like no, they don't know me. They don't they I haven't gone out of my way to date very much. But yeah, I don't put myself in that category. But I think that a lot of those dudes are dudes who, you know, are not super aggressive and alpha, and probably would have a harder time getting the more attractive females anyway, so then they get all angry and stuff. But I'm not angry at anybody. um I'm just more thoughtful about who I try to get in relationships with now. So it's been a weird kind of um um few years, I guess, you know, to try to
Yeah.
well, I mean, I moved to Portland. I had a girlfriend in Eugene for like 2.5 years or something, and then that relationship kind of made me change the way I think about things. So I didn't want to get into another just kind of really superficial,
Hmm.
you know, relationship. And so it's been difficult to try to understand what I want and what I don't want, you know, and what I don't want to get myself into. So I've purposefully, you know, stayed away, and then um and I just haven't really reconciled all the factors to put myself really out there a lot,
Yeah, if
if that
my
makes
marriage
sense.
ever fell apart, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably be in the same boat with you. I'd be probably afraid to start another relationship after investing so much time and energy into one, and then the thought
Yeah.
of trying to do that again with somebody else, that'd be a daunting task. I would definitely want some time to just for myself.
Yeah. I mean, you really put yourself out there when you're intimate with people, and you really start to care, and then I don't know, there's a lot to it. So I don't want to waste other people's time if I don't really know what I'm trying to go for. Like, do I want to have kids? Do I want to get married? Do I want to just fool around and mess with people? And do I want, you know, blah blah blah. There's plenty of plenty of stuff to think about, but I tend to over think about things and over analyze things, and so I end up where I am.
Do you use any like dating apps right now, or are you just like
No, I
completely
haven't been
not?
on those at all lately. I found that dating apps just um it's like a big game, and you're just throwing, words at people as much as possible, and then you can go on dates doing that stuff, but I don't get I feel like I'm doing it wrong because I'm not like trying to message people enough, and then I don't get matched up with people very often. And a lot of those apps you have to pay to like kind of really get into the application and get more info from people. So, and I'm super cheap and I don't like to pay for apps.
That's why you got to
So,
do eHarmony, dog.
yeah, or
'Cause they
match.com
use all of these different scientific
algorithms and stuff.
algorithms to find your perfect match.
Yeah. Yeah, I know those things work. My mom met somebody on one of those dealios, and especially the ones that like match and eHarmony, there's more money in it, and so the people tend to be a little bit more
Serious, yeah.
committed, yeah, more serious to the whole thing, and that scares me too. Like, oh shit, they're gonna like care and
Yeah.
like judge me, and then I'm gonna want to, I don't know. I'm just trying to I spent the first few years after I got broke up, just trying to like figure out who I am. And now that I have a okay, decent idea who I am, it's
Tenuous
really,
grasp at best.
yeah, tenuous grasp of who I am. I realize I like being independent and I like, living on my own, but I also like having somebody around. So
Well, we're all social creatures. So it
yeah,
makes sense that you'd want somebody around.
yeah, I fantasize and have dreams, and I have lustful thoughts in my heart, and
Well, I wouldn't think any less of you as a person if you just had a blow up doll that just sits around your apartment that you chat with. I mean,
oh, I'd chat with it.
oh
No, that would involve me spending money, and I don't like to spend money, so I'm not buying no hundred
yeah.
dollar freaking real doll. Um,
Well, if you just wait maybe like another decade or so, I feel like the technology for like the cyborg like, well, I guess sex dolls or fake women or whatever probably
yeah,
be, pretty caught up to a point where you could just have that in your life.
yeah. I feel like once I get to 40, it's going to be like a whole different thing as far as like dating. Um,
Well, I feel like that's where you get into the
like
age where women, they're starting to kind of be on like a tighter
pussy.
time limit where, well, I mean, because a lot of women hit menopause like in their 50s, I think, right? So it's like I feel like once you hit 40, that's where it's like your time is much more limited than it was before. So I feel like
Yeah,
it does probably change like the dynamic of dating at that point,
I think so. Well, I mean, you just get
at
more
least from
mature anyway.
a biological standpoint anyway. I mean, obviously
Yeah,
that's not like the all-encompassing factor for people is how
yeah.
many
But
fucking eggs you have
if
left,
you
but
if you're a female and you're like older, like in your 30s to 40s, and you feel like you want to have kids, you are on a time
mhm.
limit. That's how it goes. It's just a lot of people don't want to have kids, and so, or they think they don't, or they think they do. It's just interesting. I think I've never felt like I have a career that leads toward being able to pay for other people very well. So it's a difficult thing to think like, oh, I'll just have kids and then I gotta be able to afford it. And I don't
Mhm.
have a lot of money. So
Street kids are expensive as fuck. It's one of the many reasons why Vanessa and I don't have any.
yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Just a single dude just doing my thing, and I like long walks on the beach. I like
Hmm.
short walks off of long piers. Um, I
Do you ever,
like,
do you ever watch did you ever watch Mad TV when it was on?
mhm,
Are you familiar with that?
yeah.
This was reminding me of one of those lowered expectations segments.
Oh yeah,
But
lowered
lower, exact.
expectations.
Vanessa and I've been rewatching that
There's
show.
like
It's
normal
on,
dudes
well, on
or
Mad TV, they're not
kind
so
of ugly,
normal, but
ugly dudes. Yeah, 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 yeah. I
well,
think
it's like
that's
men
part of
and
it. Yeah,
women that are just, it's like some kooky ass character that they come up with for their own romance ad. But we've been rewatching that. That show is so funny still, even after all these years. We've been watching it on HBO Max, has like all the seasons
yeah,
on there.
yeah.
Very
I loved.
interesting how what they get what you could get away with in the 90s on television in terms of like there's characters in blackface for
Hmm.
sketches, then there's
Hmm.
black actors in whiteface in some
Hmm.
sketches, and there's, I mean, it's just, I'm like, man, you can not do any of this anymore. People would fucking cut your head off in the street and fucking shit down your throat and burn your body at like a municipal court parking lot or
Maybe,
something.
maybe they would. I don't know.
Uh,
I still think you can get away with a ton of stuff in comedy, but it does have to be time sensitive, and the stuff you can get away with now is different than what you can get away with then.
yeah, it's just as we've been watching it, some of the sketches, I'm like, fuck, wow, that
Yeah.
you could not do that now. I'm surprised that like
Or
some
it
of those
wouldn't be funny
episodes,
now. Like you could do certain stuff in comedy now, but it just wouldn't be that funny.
yeah, but
Yeah, Mad
I'm
TV was
surprised that
great.
some of those episodes are still on there because a lot of these shows, when they go on to streaming services, they typically will sometimes pull an episode or two because of like
Content.
sensitive content that at the time
Hmm.
was acceptable but isn't anymore. So I was surprised when I saw the
Yeah.
blackface and the whiteface stuff. I was like, oh, I'm surprised that they're even streaming these episodes in particular and didn't just pull them. Also, I'm surprised that you don't see people complaining about it, but maybe that's just because not that many people are watching it, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
No
I don't
Twitter
know.
mobs.
I don't pay attention to any of the like cancel culture or like what people are complaining about or like what people find offensive. I
It's
don't
like
have
all
a
I see
clue.
half the time
I
when I
don't
like
know
if
what's
I
going
log
on.
in to Twitter, it's like all there is just people, some mob
Who are
going
you
after something
following? Who
else.
are you following that you
I
see
just
these
follow
people?
like
You follow hashtags? Is that why?
no, it's like these
Hashtag
there's a lot of writers that
complainers.
I enjoy their books, and so I'll follow them on Twitter just
Oh,
to,
and they're reposting
and
stuff.
yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
they retweet
Because they're paying
things and
attention, because they care about
mhm.
the modern zeitgeist and I just don't like I don't get it. Like your little opinion doesn't represent shit. It's not important. Like somebody's, oh, I fucking this person like what are you talking about?
Yeah, for me it's if you were so righteous in your beliefs, you would be out actually doing something to enact some sort of change
What? But
instead of retweeting
I
something
think you're
to me.
wrong. I think if not you, I think if you, I think if you are interested in censoring art, then I think you're wrong. I think you're just out of your mind. I think you don't understand what you're talking about. You don't have any idea what it's like. You want to have the freedom to stop them, but then what world is that going to lead to where people can't express themselves through art? You're out of your mind. It's crazy.
Well, it just becomes
Fuck you,
that
you crazy person.
the horseshoe theory, where you have people who are so liberal that want to cancel all these things, which then makes it so that they're just on the same level as like the far right, really conservative people who are also wanting to cancel different things because of satanic imagery or whatever. It's like you just have these two sides now that are basically on an equal playing field trying to cancel things
Well, and
because of whatever reason.
you think that you should just be a dictator and just tell people what kind of words they can and can't say? Like, who are you? Why do you think that? Why do you even think that's good? That's better. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't get people.
For
I
me, when it
don't
comes
get
to
people.
those arguments or whatever, I'm like, if you don't like something, then just don't watch it, don't pay attention to it, don't read it. Just because what's funny is when you call attention to things like this to cancel them, you're also just shining a giant spotlight on it, which is just going to draw more attention to something. Because there's a lot of things that I think would have just died off on their own from lack of attention, but then people cause a big stir about it
Yeah.
and suddenly it's like becomes a really popular thing because you caused such a big stink about it, so it brought it to the attention of a bunch of people.
Well, and then people will come to defend it just to because they don't want it to get canceled or they don't want it to
Mhm.
get, stopped. But maybe it's because people don't get the difference between art and law. They like laws are things that you should fight against if you think there's an unjust law that people are going to jail for and losing their money for. That's something to petition the government about and to, rail against and laws are really powerful. Um, but art is almost nothing. Art is just a blip in society, and and it has an impact on individuals, and it can have larger cultural kind of impacts. But like,
I think that's what
what
people
does it
worry
matter?
about.
What does it matter? What do you? I don't. I don't even know if I could name one artistic expression that has caused damage. Like, what does that mean? I don't even know what that would come
Well, I
to.
think the only damage that it causes is if you have somebody who's already sort of mentally unstable and then they read Catcher in the Rye and go shoot John Lennon or something like, something like that.
There's no
But that's
evidence for
such,
that. I don't think
but it's
that's
such
ever
a,
happened.
but that's such like a
I don't think anyone's ever like
isolated incident.
watched a violent movie and it made them more violent. I don't think that's how anything works. I don't think that I don't people I mean people we all just want like all these real clean cut fucking causes, and we make little correlations and things, but
Well, it's easier to blame a
I
piece
don't
of
get it.
art for how shitty your kid turned out than to blame yourself for your lack of parenting skills, you know?
Yeah, obviously. I think, yeah, I mean, especially if you're talking about kids or talking about whatever, like art for the most part is an expression of currently held beliefs from the people who make the art. The art isn't like some attempt to get people to change their behavior. Like I mean, like, unless you have like wartime journalist kind of photography where you get to see the pain of other people, and that's supposed to make you not want to support wars or something like that. That could be kind of an art that is designed to change something, but I don't know. It
Well, I
seems
mean, a lot of times
it's
it's
too
just an
vague.
a lot of times it's just an exploration of like ideas or a concept or something.
Sure,
Like a
and
lot of times, like
especially comedy.
when I'm writing a book, like if I'm writing, like a Western with a lot of guns and violence and stuff, it's like I don't like guns and I don't like violence, but it's an exploration of those ideas in a fictional setting where you can sort of develop a message that you want to give to your readers, I
Yeah,
guess.
you can't stop people from expressing themselves, and you can't stop people from being creative, and you can't stop people from wanting to say their opinions. Um, so I don't know. I don't get these like nannies, these overbearing people who want to I mean, I guess I get a little bit of that when I'm like driving around and I want to control everybody's driving habits. There's a certain amount of like frustration with other people that you're like, man, if I could, I would be in control, and I would stop these people from not blinking and being assholes on the road, and being rude. I hate people being rude. It's super annoying. Selfish stuff. So, but I've never watched any comedy and been like, that's too much. That's that they should not be allowed to say that. It's just never happened. I just don't get it. I can't relate to anybody who's offended with comedy.
I don't either.
I don't get it. Or most like fictional based like television and movies and all that stuff. I don't really understand why that would be offensive or scary. Like, are you scared of something? What are you afraid of? I don't know.
Yeah, you broke in here.
You got
I had to shut.
dogs?
Yeah, well, I had the door shut and he just broke the door in. Well, he didn't break it in. It doesn't really close. It's like
Just pushed it.
just pushed it open. Here, hold on. I'm gonna close the door
Nice.
real fast just because the sound from the living room I was trying to keep out of the background. Hold on.
Okay.
Go.
Channing is
Go.
shooing the dog out and closing a door.
You just
So
gotta vamp for a second. You just gotta do a little vamp.
we I'm a vampire.
Oh, hey.
So we've talked about my I mean, how long have we've been doing this podcast for like, we took a break for like 3 years, but before that we were doing this podcast for a long time. Have I ever had a girlfriend since we've been doing this podcast? I mean, it's been so
I
long. I don't even count the years
I
anymore.
I don't think so. I think you had just ended your relation, like your previous relationship, right when we were kind of getting started, I think.
It must have been, because I don't remember
or
her
I think it
around for
was,
any of it.
yeah, because you
Or
guys were
we,
living together, right? Weren't you?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
until
we lived together,
until you guys
and
broke up
that's
or
when we
whatever.
started the podcast. Was at that apartment on Mill Street.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like we might have been doing it before that because we were doing it for a long time. But
Yeah,
maybe
we either
I don't
started
remember
like
her
right at the
ever
end.
involved. Like I don't
Yeah,
remember her at all being involved. So it must have been right after that. But
it was
and
either right
then
at the end or right after it was over, kind of
yeah,
a thing. Like right
yeah,
in that. That's what happened is your relationship ended, and then you started a relationship with this podcast
yeah,
instead to
that's
fill the
true.
void in your
Yeah,
heart.
yeah. That's why I keep just keeping it going, or else then I'll have nothing,
Well, I hope you
nothing and
meet
no
somebody
one.
at some point because it's good for everybody to have a nice, healthy, romantic relationship, I think. But I feel like there's probably plenty of people out there who just have no interest also in having a romantic relationship. And I feel like people have a hard time reconciling with that because it's such a standard part of most people's lives, I
Yeah,
guess. But I don't know. Like I said, I hope that at some point you find some nice
this
lady who
young young.
hits all the right buttons for you,
I
sexually
do
and
too.
otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. I'm open to it, and I'm uh interested in going out and doing stuff and being social. I'm just it's not something I think about very often. I I was like, I have a day off and I go do my stuff and then I come home and I'm I'm just so comfortable just chilling and being by myself. I don't even think about like, oh, I got to go like to a bar or some like I don't know. I don't like meeting people, random people. Fuck random people.
Mhm.
I like getting to know people on a more like, friendship, kind of basis. Like you at least you be around a few times, like, um, I don't know.
I feel yeah, I have a hard time letting new people into my life. So
Yeah. Well, and it's because I've had, all the most of the new people who came in my life, even when I liked them, it just doesn't last. It doesn't keep going and nobody puts in the effort and it's not that big of a deal, you know. So whatever.
fuck
I don't even want to talk
relationships.
about it anymore. Nah.
Again. Hey, did
Fuck
you have you watched
relationships.
any new movies lately? Did you watch that new Army of the Dead that just hit Netflix last? Okay.
No,
Damn.
no,
I
I
wanted to
haven't
talk
seen
about
that.
that for a
I haven't been on
second.
Netflix in a little while.
Well, that movie
Um,
sucks anyway, but
oh,
I was hoping you had watched it because I feel like you wouldn't like it either, and then we could just complain about it for a few minutes. But
um, yeah, I hated it. It sucked. It was dumb. Is that the one with the guy with the hand that's chopped off and the chainsaw?
what? No, that's like
Army
Evil
of
Dead,
Darkness? Oh, the
Army
Evil
of
Dead.
Darkness. Those movies are wonderful. No, this is Army of the Dead. It's just
Army of the Dead. Okay,
it's
well
like a
that's
brand new it moved. It's like a zoo zombie movie that just came out last
oh
Friday on Netflix. It's done
no,
by
I haven't seen it.
Zack Snyder. He's the guy who did
Oh
300 and he did that Dawn of the Dead remake like way back when, like almost 20 years ago at this point.
yeah.
So anyway, because his Dawn of the Dead remake was so good from 2004, I was like, oh, he's gonna probably make a really good Army of the Dead. Like he's already proven that he knows how to make a really solid zombie movie. In this movie, it was not that. It has like an interesting premise, but the characters are all like fucking stupid. Like there's no likable characters in the movie really. There's like a couple of characters that are okay, but for
Yeah.
the most part, it's just one of those movies where it's just, people making bad decision after bad decision that's like agonizing to watch unfold. And
Yeah. Is that kind of like it kind of reminds me of Suicide Squad or something like that.
kind of,
Like
yeah, like the
they
premise of the
tried real
movie
hard, but
is
just didn't work.
they try to like put some comedy elements into it. It just sort of falls flat. But the
Yeah.
whole premise of the movie is that the zombie outbreak occurs in Las Vegas. And so Las Vegas is sort of quarantined off from the rest of the world. And
Hmm.
then this group of, I guess, like mercenaries gets hired by this sort of entrepreneur guy to go into one of his casinos and get the $200 million they got left in the safe in the middle of Las Vegas, basically.
Hmm.
And then he'll give them, like I
A
think it's like
proportion
twenty
of it.
million dollars or something, or $50 million of it,
Yeah.
if they go get the money out. So that's the whole premise of the movie. Is it's like a heist zombie movie where they're
Hmm.
breaking into Las Vegas to go get the money out of this uh, safe. So, like I said, there's like interesting ideas there.
Yeah.
The
Just
execution's just poor. But
yeah.
you should check it
Just
out at
doesn't
some point if you
just something to watch,
something to
action
watch.
oriented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe get high ahead of time. You might have a better time with it than watching it
Yeah.
sober.
Yeah. At least I forget how much I hated it. Um, have you watched Jupiter's Legacy? That looks super lame. I can't get myself to even start watching it. It's
No,
that
I
it's
haven't.
like a new superhero thing on Netflix.
I'm so burnt out with superhero stuff. Like every
Yeah.
time there's like a new superhero show, the
Yeah.
only superhero show that I watch that I really like is The Boys on
Hmm.
Amazon. And that's
Yeah,
just
I've heard that's
because
super good. Yeah.
it's like super dark,
Yeah.
really violent, but it's also really funny. It's a very like cynical look at superheroes, kind of
Yeah.
like if superheroes were real, like they're
They wouldn't be good people.
no, they wouldn't be. And they're all marketed. There's like these companies that they
Yeah.
license themselves to for marketing, and it's just
Yeah.
anyway. I totally recommend The Boys. It's fucking great.
Yeah. I maybe I should buy like I'll think about getting HBO. It's on HBO Max, right?
The Boys is on Amazon
Oh,
Prime
Amazon.
Prime
Okay.
Video. Yeah, HBO
Well,
Max is worth it though. HBO Max
yeah.
is
I gotta just
a
pull
good
the
streaming service.
trigger and get one of those setups. I know somebody's password for Amazon Prime, but I'm that lazy. I haven't actually logged in to watch stuff on it. I suck. I'm so lazy.
Yeah,
I'm
no, The
so
Boys is
like
great.
I can just deal with not having anything new in my life.
Well, the cool thing about HBO Max is you get access to like all these HBO shows that have been around since HBO started. So it's been fun to kind of go back and catch up on all these old HBO shows that I never watched because I didn't have cable growing up. And so
Yeah.
we just watched this show called Oz, which was like the first HBO
Is that the
series
one
that
about the
they did.
prison?
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
surprisingly
Isn't
was
there
like a
like a
pretty solid show, actually.
isn't there just a lot of rape, male rape?
There's a considerable amount of male rape, and yeah, you see a
Yeah.
lot of dick. Like the
Oh,
most penis I've ever seen in my life is in that show,
wow.
which makes sense in the context of being in an all male prison. But yeah, there's a lot. It's an interesting show that I won't ever watch again. But it was like it was cool to like sit there and just kind of watch there's like 6 seasons of it or whatever before it
Yeah.
ended. It's kind of a hard show to watch because you're just watching all these people continue to make poor decisions. Somebody will go on parole or get out of prison, and then they immediately just get stuck back in because they do something fucking stupid like right away when they get out. And so it's just like nobody ever really grows or improves in that show. It's just sort of an entertaining show to watch in terms of kind of like an analysis of the prison system in our country and how
Yeah.
fucking broken it is, basically.
Well, and how it doesn't make anybody's life better. It just
Mhm.
keeps scary people away from society, which
Well,
is
and that's like part of
part of
the
its goal.
story too. Is one of the kind of supervisors is trying to do these experimental programs and stuff to try to rehabilitate them.
Yeah.
Like there's like a dog training program and things like that. He keeps trying to introduce into the prison to find different ways to help these guys, but like I
It
said,
never really
unfortunately, it
does
never
anything.
really seems to work. But I feel like that's mostly because you got to keep drama in your show to keep it going for 6 seasons. So if you have all these characters being rehabilitated, then you don't have much more story to keep telling. So that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Nice. Hey, can I show you something?
Yes, of course.
I
You're not gonna
went
show. You're not gonna whip your dick out or anything, right?
yeah, yeah. Speaking of prison dick,
Hey.
what do you look can you see what I'm seeing here? What is it?
Yeah, it's like a big pink flower.
Okay, yes. So I went for a walk yesterday and I took some pictures. So I just wanted to show you real quick. And I thought a couple
So,
of them came out pretty good. I think that one looks pretty cool.
oh, is
It's
this
just
the
a
park where
little
you were accosted by dogs, or is this a different?
no, no. This is just around my neighborhood. So literally just I took a walk like a couple blocks up and just did like a circle around the area. So if somebody wants to check it out, it's at my website, joesnotesblog.com. It's just a photo journal that I did, but this is one of my favorite ones here. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like the orange,
Yeah. I like
nice
taking pictures
orange
of
rose.
flowers are like a really easy subject where
Mhm.
they're colorful and they're intricate and they're detailed and
Well, they have
so
like a nice contrast compared to a
mhm,
lot of things in the background. It's like the one really nice, bright, colorful thing, and like kind of
yeah.
a bunch of green, like in these ones where it's like this beautiful white. Is that a daffodil? Something.
This
I don't
is
know. Fucking what flowers are tulip?
I forgot what this one is called. An iris, I think is what it's called.
Oh, okay, maybe yeah. I guess.
Something like that. But yeah, I don't know the names of them, but I just think they're like when you live in the city and you can't get like I don't like taking pictures of, the um uh street stuff. I don't like people. I don't like buildings.
Oh
I don't like
yeah.
cars. I mean, what are they called? Um like race cars are cool, like like really nice cars are cool to take pictures of, but in the city, people have flowers, and so you can kind of
Wait.
get a taste of nature from.
So you're not interested in your neighbor's 98 Honda Civic? You're not gonna
No,
photograph
no,
them?
no. Yeah, I'm not even interested in like interesting looking people like out on the street, because then you got to like put your camera at them, and like I don't think
Yeah, and
people
you
really
usually gotta
like
like
having their.
ask them for
You don't
permission.
have
Usually.
to, because if somebody's in public, like you can take photos in public, like if it's just literally like on the street. Inside of, a restaurant or something is different because that's there. But if there's a big window there, like there's no assumption of privacy. So there's a bunch of rules about it, but for the most part, like nobody's going to stop you. But I think
You
it's
should.
super rude to just go
You
around
should
taking pictures of people without.
just as like a fun experiment one day is you should go around photographing people, and if they say anything to you, just be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I thought you were Samuel L. Jackson. And it's
Yeah,
just like
just
some
for
old white guy
everybody.
with a beard who's
Yeah.
like obviously not him.
You just I have no idea. I thought you were this celebrity. I thought you were Ryan
Mhm.
Reynolds. I thought you
Yeah.
were
Some like 72-year-old woman. Could have
yeah.
sworn you were Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know. I don't know what. They would just think you're crazy.
Yeah, and then they just leave you alone. Like, get out of here, you fucking weirdo. You fucking crazy person.
But all the while, I got the shot of some weird
It's
fucking
true.
random ass person. Yeah. So anyway, that's just something I wanted to show off there a little bit. A
Nice.
little photo.
I have nothing fun to show off. I'm still writing a book. I could show
Yeah.
you. I could show you a page of a
Show
Word
me
document.
show me a page of the Word document. Let's read excerpt from your new unreleased book.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Share
Let's do it.
screen.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
you have to allow me to share my screen.
How do I do that? Participants, Channing, allow to. How do I allow you to do it?
How do you?
I don't know how. Um, one participant can share at a time. I don't know, dude. Oh, here you go. I can just go to your screen, maybe. We did this before. How did we do it?
I don't know. It just says host disabled participant screen sharing.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did that.
Unacceptable.
Put in waiting room, remove reports, pin, stop video chat. Screen sharing. Let's try that. Advanced screen sharing.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the problem with a lot of technology that I find, is that when you go to do something that seems very straightforward, like it says who can share and it says
Oh,
all participants.
it's letting me
So
share now.
yeah, maybe because I was sharing before, it just got stuck. I don't
Whoa.
know.
You see that?
Ooh, yep. Chapter.
Oh,
Devils
it's
in the
chapter.
Confessional.
There we go. I
This
don't
is
know if
like
I've actually.
this is sneak shit.
This is yeah. Look behind the curtain of
Yeah. Well, like
the process here.
I mean, it hasn't even gotten to the curtain yet. Do you want me to read it?
I'm trying to say I was like, oh god, I need to find the section that won't just like ruin the story here.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you know what? We'll just go to the beginning. Why?
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
read something from the. Oh
I
god.
saw the word engine real quick there. Channing is for the listeners, Channing is scrolling through his manuscript of his new long ass novel. because he
It's
can't
true.
write
We're
short things.
75,000 words deep right now, which is about
Jesus criminy.
279 pages.
That is a lot. Oh,
Um,
I'm reading the News of the World. It's so good.
it's really good,
I'm
right? It's
yeah,
very, very well
very
written.
good, like Western, but with one of those kind of no Western stereotypes. Like it's
Hmm.
just feels very authentic, and the writing is super good, and it's very very interesting. I'm enjoying that book.
Yeah, I only picked up News of the World because I saw the previews for the movie and I was like, oh, that movie looks fucking great. And then I was,
Is it out yet?
oh yeah, yeah, you can watch
Oh,
it. And the movie is a pretty faithful adaptation too of the book. I mean, it changes a few things,
yeah.
but nothing like substantial to where like you feel like the story's ruined. They just alternate some things a little bit.
Yeah. I was
Um,
so impressed with the writing that I was trying to figure out when she wrote it because it seemed like so old fashioned,
mhm.
and but it's only like a few years old.
Yeah. I remember when I was working at Barnes and Noble, I think around the time that it came out, because I remember seeing it on the bookshelf and it was it was a bestseller for a little while and stuff. So, but yeah, I totally love that book. It's like one of those books that I need to like, I want to buy like a nice hardcover copy of it to put in my collection because
Ooh,
I'll reread it for sure.
nice and hard.
Um, but yeah,
So,
this is Devils in the Confessional, which is the official title for the last
oh,
Western Singe trilogy book. I don't know if I've actually put that
the
out
Devils.
in the ether. Continues the religious connotation titles of the Western Sins trilogy. Started with Hell Came With Her, followed by Breathed Out by God, and then ends with Devils in the Confessional, which is my
Ooh,
favorite title of the three, I must say. I was,
you like it?
yeah. Yeah, I actually was unsure what the title was going to be, and then there's some dialogue between the villain and one of the main characters, where the villain says that him and the protagonist are just a pair of devils in a confessional, like talking about how they're people who seem like they're trying to do good, but they're really just there to fuck things up and ruin people's lives.
Yeah, I gotcha. Charlatans,
Mm-hmm.
dirty fucking bastards. So, we're like Abernathy smelled the wood smoke first before he saw the
Yeah, I
gold
forget.
panning tools. Is that the very first? It looks like you.
This is
Where's
the
the?
first chapter, but this is like the segment that's interesting, you know.
Oh, okay. I get you. Do you want me to read
Here,
it?
yeah, yeah. Do you want to read it, or I can read it? Whatever's.
Why don't you read it? It's your
All right,
book.
all right. Here we go.
Do
So
it
this
in
is
Australian accent.
an Australian accent.
Hmm.
I'll throw a little Southern accent in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's even better. That fits probably
Um,
better.
it does. So this is the first chapter from the book. It's obviously a work in progress, so I'm sure there's typos and all kinds of nastiness in here because I have not edited it.
No, you're perfect.
Um, but this is the opening chapter that follows
Abernathy.
one Joseph Abernathy,
Oh,
who is working as a miner in the town of Opulence, which is nestled in this kind of hidden valley in the Cascades, which is where the focus of the story is. Like basically the main setting of the story is this mining town, started by one Benjamin Fink of the Fink Mining Company. So that's a little background. Anyway, so this is a segment from the very first chapter. um, Abernathy smelled the wood smoke first before he saw the gold panning tools strung about. This was their workstation, no doubt about it. Their fire was only embers, but there was not a man in sight. Only the tools of their trade were there, left out in the open, seemingly abandoned. Leather satchels were laying on the ground beside the fire, still bulging with possibles. Abernathy looped his thumbs through the belt loops of his trousers as he surveyed the area. Rolston, Jimmy, Abernathy called out, trying to rack his brain for who the other fellows were on the morning crew. He didn't see their mule tethered anywhere either, and he knew for a fact the crew had brought one with them to help carry all their possibles. Had they already started back and he missed them somehow? He shook his head. No, that wasn't possible. And they wouldn't have left all these tools and supplies behind. No voice answered back. All Abernathy could hear was the river flowing beside him and the birds chirping in the trees as the wind rustled the branches. He spat into the embers of the dying fire and started ambling around, looking for a sign of where they could have gone. He was no tracker, but he tried to make sense of all the boot prints in the mud. To his untrained eye, it only looked like madness. No rhyme or reason, just fellows walking back and forth, working. Rolston, who the hell are you? Abernathy called out again as he started scanning the tree line. Had they all gone to take a piss together? Had they taken the gold they found and tried to make a run for it? Abernathy found himself trying to make up a story that could explain the men's absence. Surely it was something simple and stupid. His eyes settled on a dark splatter on one of the trees and his heart skipped a beat. He almost missed it, lost in the thick vegetation of the valley forest. He slowly walked toward it, his eyes flicking back and forth, looking for movement in the trees. Reaching out, he touched the dark splatter on the evergreen's bark. It was cold and tacky and stuck to his fingertips like honey. Again, he was no expert, but as he held his red fingertips to his nose and smelled the copper, he knew what it was. The blood ran down the bark of the tree and disappeared under the bushes at its base. Abernathy parted the bushes and was greeted by more streaks of blood on the soil and conifer needles. Someone had been dragged off into the forest. Had there been a quarrel between the men and the crew? By the looks of things, someone could have been murdered, and maybe that's where all the men were, trying to cover it up. Shit, Abernathy hissed as he drew his dingy Colt from where it was tucked into the front of his pants. He had only shot it a few times and only carried it for protection against possible predators in the valley. A couple fellows had been attacked by cougars and bobcats, and a couple others had claimed to see wolves and a grizzly fishing in the river. Maybe that's what happened here, Abernathy thought to himself. Maybe someone was attacked by a cougar or wolf. He licked his lips and followed the blood trail with his pistol in hand. Rolston, Jimmy, fellas, he called out again, listening to his voice echo through the trees. You fellas out here? You need some help? But the only answer was the sound of his own voice reverberating back at him. I've seen the blood. Just call out if y'all need help. Birds eloped from their branches overhead in a flurry of noise that startled Abernathy and caused him to nearly drop his Colt. He swore under his breath and set to wiping the sweat from his hands to keep a better grip on his firearm. How far could they have gone? Could he still see signs of someone being dragged through the foliage? Broken branches, parted bushes, leaves and needles brushed away. There wasn't as much blood, though, but he feared that wasn't as good a sign as it should be. After all, a fellow only had so much of the red stuff in them. He started forward slowly again, tiptoeing like a child, trying to sneak around the house at night to swipe food from the pantry. Before long, he could see the mule ahead, standing between some trees with its tail swishing back and forth as it nibbled on some grass. Near where it stood was a saddle and bags that should have been strapped to the animal's back. Whoa now, Abernathy said softly as he approached the mule, but the animal paid him no mind and only continued to pick at the grass. The man knelt and examined the saddle and satchel and found that the straps had been cut. Someone either tried to free the animal or tried to steal the goods off its back, but the creature was too stupid to wander away and the satchels looked to be intact. What the hell is going on? Abernathy mumbled as he stood. He took a deep breath and stretched his back. As he stretched backward, he looked up and his whole body seized. There, hanging in the trees above him and the mule, were the seven men from the morning gold panning crew. Sickness quickly rose into Abernathy's gullet, and he vomited all over his boots. All at once, he could feel the presence of the bodies invade his senses as he wiped the vomit from his mouth. The men weren't just hanging from the trees, they were crucified to them. Their bodies were hacked apart with blood soaking their faces, spilling from their scalped heads. Crimson stains covered the trees around them and ran down the bark like sap and soaked into the soil and roots at the base of each one. He could hear it dripping, smell its copper heavy in the air. My God, Abernathy muttered as he took off his hat and felt more bile rising in his throat. He had experiences with the devil, but nothing like this. He couldn't fathom no creature of God doing such a thing. This was a most unholy atrocity, one that he couldn't quite wrap his head around. Abernathy just stood there, staring at the poor men nailed and tied to the trees. No animal could have done this, was all he could think. Their stripped scalps meant there was only one possibility, and it made his blood run cold. There was all manner of savages out there, and he had met more than his fair share, but this was unconscionable. He had to hurry back. He had to tell Fink and the others. They thought that they had this valley to themselves, but someone else was here. He said a quick prayer for the men and made a sign of the cross with his right hand. Every part of him was screaming to run as fast as he could. The savages who did this could be nearby still, but it was only right and decent to give them a small gesture of prayer. Once he was through, Abernathy turned and fled as quietly as he could. His hands shook, but he kept a firm grip on his revolver. Now that he felt like he had a chance when 7 other men together didn't. He wouldn't go down without a fight at the very least. As soon as he broke free from the brush and was at the campsite, he thought he heard something moving in the forest behind him. Abernathy never looked back. He ran the whole way back to Auckland's. He slipped and fell a few times on the wet river rocks, but not once did he look back. If the devil was chasing him again, he didn't have it in him to stop and face the demon. As for the mule, it never stopped eating the grass growing beneath its slain masters. There you go. It's about the second half of the first chapter.
Nice. Yeah, awesome, dude. That's fucking great. I'm excited. And you did a great job reading it. It was compelling. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much. We should do more live readings of your books or whatever.
Yes, but that's what the story's about. It pulls the characters from the first two novels together to come help this mining town sort of deal with these assailants that are crucifying and scalping the miners.
Yeah, you did something interesting there with the crucifixion, because Indians don't crucify people, but they do scalp people, and then other people crucify people. So it's like creates a lot of intrigue to
It's
not
sort of
know who's doing it.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of it's like a central sort of mystery in the novel, is trying to figure out what exactly, like, who is doing this.
What are they doing? Oh my gosh, 7 dead dudes all hung up. Oh gosh.
Crucified and scalp.
It's crucified. I think that's good, man. I think that'll be a good way to end the whole shebang here. Do we want to come up with some freaking recommendations? I honestly have no idea about that, but
I do. I actually just finished a book last night that I would like to recommend.
Okay.
It's very interesting. I'm looking it up real fast because I want to make sure I get the author's name right, because it's a little
sure.
I worry that I might pronounce it wrong. But anyway, the book is called Ring Shout. And it's by
Ring Shout.
Ring Shout. But it's by P. Djèlí Clark. And it's a kind of like fictional alternate history set in 1922 in like Macon, which I think is in Georgia, if I remember correctly. And it basically follows a set of Black characters in 1922. So not a great time for the Black people in our country. I mean, pretty much from that time backwards was not awesome, and probably some would argue is still not that awesome, but much worse in 1922. And the story centers around, are you familiar with the movie Birth of a Nation?
I'm not familiar enough to know why I've heard that before.
So it's one of like I think it might be like the first movie ever made, if not the first one ever made, the first one of like real prominence that sort of began the idea of Hollywood and kind of like was like the first like really popular movie at the very least. Might have been the first one ever. I didn't study the history on it a lot, but Birth of a Nation is kind of like a white nationalist Ku Klux Klan fucking hurrah movie.
That's what I think I remember.
Yeah, and so the movie's about like Ku Klux Klan members saving America from Black people and other minorities. Basically is what the movie, it's a real movie that actually exists. And in this in the book, it is like, it's kind of weird to explain. That movie acts as like a spell and creates like this externalized hate that people already harbor. So it turns like Ku Klux Klan members into these like werewolf type creatures and stuff. It like exemplifies this hate that they have inside them, basically. And so Birth of the Nation comes out within the novel, and then it creates, like I said, it's kind of like a spell that just like magnifies the evil in these people, basically. And so the movie or the book follows the set of Black characters who are kind of like fighting against these creatures suddenly. Like the main character has like this magic sword that she can summon, and it's all about her going up against like the leader of these, it's almost like a HP Lovecraftian type creatures that start manifesting from this movie. Anyway, it's really weird to explain, but it's a really fucking cool book. Actually, it's not very long. I think it came out like last year. It was on like a list of best novels of the year kind of thing, which is how I found out about it. And it's a really good book. It's really short too. It's like maybe I think it's like 250 pages. It was a pretty quick read, but just a really like out there crazy idea kind of like another exploration of racism in America through like this dark fantasy lens.
Mm, that's
But it's
cool.
really cool. It's worth checking out. It's like I said, it's a when I was reading it, I was kind of like for a little while I was like, what the fuck is this? What's going on?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
because the whole premise is just kind of out there, but
yeah.
it's yeah, it was really good.
You just
I
have to
totally
go with
recommend it.
it, and then it
Hmm.
makes sense at some point.
Yeah, as
Or
you kind of
you
settle
can,
into the
yeah.
world, you get used to it. Because when you're reading the beginning of it, you're like, wait, there's Ku Klux members, but they're creatures. Like the first scene of the book is them basically booby trapping a dead body that the Ku Klux Klan creatures are feeding off of, so they can blow up the creatures and steal their body parts to take to like this woman who uses them in experiments. It just like the book just starts like there's not really much of a setup. Like that's kind of like the opening of the book, and then you're sort of just along for the ride. But it's really good if people are interested in
Nice.
that crazy
Always,
rundown that I just
you always got
said.
good book recommendations. Um, I think I thought of something. I would like to recommend a thing here now,
Mm,
please. It's a podcast. I might have already mentioned it before, but it's a podcast called Strong Songs, and it's a
I don't think so.
music related podcast. I think it's awesome. And essentially, the guy takes like really uh not necessarily famous because he's done some songs on songs I didn't know about, but normally they're songs that people have heard of because they're strong songs. They're like songs that did a lot, you know, like had a big following, or at least um, kind of internally have a lot going on. And he'll just break them down and talk about what's going on in the song and all this stuff and stuff about the artists involved and all that. And then he also does a Q&A that's really interesting because it kind of breaks it up. um, and since I've been getting into music, I've been, you know, learning a lot about music theory and music composition and things like that. So it's really well done, very well produced podcast
Hmm, that's
called
cool.
Strong
Strong
Songs.
songs. Yeah, you didn't recommend that. You did recommend a podcast before, but it was not that one. I'm trying to remember what it was. I listened to an episode on it. It was with that
Oh, it was Sean Carroll.
philosopher. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the uh I forget what it's called. His website's Preposterous Universe or something like that. But the webs, yeah, what is that podcast?
I'm trying to remember what it was called. Yeah, because I listened to a couple episodes of
Mindscape.
it
It's the
after Mindscape.
Mindscape
That's what it was.
podcast with Sean Carroll. I listen to it all the time, but you know, I don't look at the name of it very
Yeah, you're
often.
just like, oh, new episode, and you just listen to
Yeah,
it.
and I just think of it as Sean Carroll's podcast. But yeah, he's great. He has these 3 hour Q&As that are just super dense, and like some of it's like about quantum physics, some of it's about astrophysics, some of it's about like Higgs bosons and shit. And I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but
Yeah,
he's like
sometimes
the
like
smartest person I listen to.
some of those things are like you're like, oh, this is an interesting topic, and then you start listening to them talk about it, and you're like, I have no fucking idea what they're saying
Yeah,
because this is
never
all.
mind. Yeah. But then he'll talk about stuff that I do understand. And I think just listening to people who are smart is, you know, you can learn new words, you can learn you know, a little bit about what's going on in certain scientific fields, even without really having a great idea of what they're talking about.
Mhm.
Makes me feel smart. That's important. It's the most important.
Exactly. It's all about perceptions.
It's all about maintaining my ego. So I think that's going to do it, guys and
Yeah,
gals.
it's kind of a
Um,
hodgepodge episode, but
yeah,
yeah,
I'm glad. I'm glad we did it. We don't always have to be uh, prepared. Fuck
yeah,
that.
fuck
Fuck
that.
being prepared.
Every time we're not prepared, I'll just read another chapter of the
I like that.
book.
Honestly, I've done a few. I did some readings of your books before for the podcast,
Mhm.
and some readings of certain short stories that I've done, and I like it. I like the audio format for fiction and
Mhm.
for you know, prose, right, written works. I
I
think,
always
yeah,
have this fantasy of like actually making my own audiobooks for my
yeah,
books, but I'm just like,
we could do it, man. I mean, I don't know how. It just takes so long. I did a reading of your um like just the prologue or something to one of your books and put it
Mhm.
out on the podcast. And I really wanted it to be good. And I did. a few takes of it, and it just took forever.
Yeah.
I did a couple of short stories that I wrote too, and it's super exciting to do it, and but it's so much work. I think
Yeah.
you need like a team. You need, the producer, the sound engineer, the editor, and you need like the person reading, because it's so much work that doing it all on your own, it just takes forever.
Yeah.
Literally can take
Well,
like
and there it sucks when
forever.
you're like on a really good stretch and then you fuck up like one word or something, or
Yeah.
and so
We got to do it in chunks, and then you got to know the material pretty well, so it's not the first time you've read it, so
Mhm.
that you know what's going on and you kind of predict what's going on and you can read it fluidly. But like something like those Harry Potter audiobooks that Stephen Fry did, and he does all these voices and stuff. Like
Oh
they're
yeah, yeah.
taking, they took years to produce those.
Yeah, Vanessa's
It's like a whole
she's
thing.
been listening to the whole series. She's actually on the last book right now, and I hear bits of it, and that guy just
Yeah.
kills it, man. He does such a great job
Oh,
just bringing those characters to life
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. That's how I learned of Harry Potter, was from the British version of the audiobooks.
Mhm.
And then I tried to listen to the American version, and I couldn't. It just wasn't good. It was good, but I had
Yeah.
already listened to the better
Well, when
version.
you have
So
Stephen Fry doing it, I'm like, why? Who
crazy.
wants? Why?
So
Yeah.
good. So
If somebody
talented.
hired me, they're like, "Hey, we need you to read the Harry Potter books." I'm like, you guys already have like the fucking
Yeah,
best
what are
rendition.
you
What do you need
talking
me
about?
for? Does you have something else I can read?
Yeah. Also, how much are you paying? Because I'll totally do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. All right. Go to joesnotesblog.com, go to fleetingthoughtspodcast.com, go to amazon.com, and go to Channing Cornwall on amazon.com. Type in
It's
Channing
true.
Cornwall, and you
Read the
got
first two
you got
Western Sins
books.
trilogy books before
Yeah.
the last one comes out.
And yeah, those are great. Other than that, spay and neuter your cats, spay and neuter your dogs,
Spay and neuter yourself. You
spay
don't
and
need more
neuter
people.
yourselves, spay and neuter your kids. Even if you only have one kid, spay and neuter that single person.
hmm
Just spay and neuter them. I don't, do we call it spaying when it's humans? I don't
I
think so.
think probably not.
Is that the
I think they
female
call
one?
that this a hysterectomy when it's a
Yeah.
person.
Or a uh
I think spay and neuter is just, it sounds like not so severe. So I think that's why they use that terminology for the animals. Because if you're like, hey, I'm taking my cat in to get a hysterectomy, that
yeah.
sounds intense, you
Well,
know?
it also sounds like you are an idiot. Like, what are you talking about? You're care. Yeah. Or do they take like the whole
when they
like the
when they
ovaries out, or do
yeah,
they
I think
take
yeah,
like,
when they fix the females, I think that I don't know if they pull every single organ out, but they
yeah.
pull out some stuff,
Yeah. Oh, geez.
some
Yeah. Well,
stuff.
isn't there like a tubulogotomy or something where they I don't, maybe that's not a thing. Have you ever heard of that?
That's the Abdullah oblongata, I think is what you
Oh, is
meant.
that because the alligators are mean? Because of their medulla oblongata? All right, we're done. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a good night.